Imagine a place where the very air seems to whisper secrets of the past, where every step you take feels like an intrusion into a world that time forgot. Picture a forest, shrouded in mist, where the trees stand like silent sentinels, guarding the mysteries that lie within. The pathway before you is dimly lit, the twilight casting long shadows that dance and flicker, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation and unease. Now imagine stepping into an old abandoned house. The hallway stretches out before you, dark and foreboding, each corner cloaked in shadow. The walls seem to close in, the air heavy with the scent of decay and neglect. This is a place where darkness lingers, where the light struggles to penetrate the gloom, and every creak of the floorboard sends a shiver down your spine. In the heart of this house, a single candle flickers, casting a feeble glow that barely holds back the encroaching darkness. The shadows move and shift, as if alive, whispering secrets that only the bravest dare to uncover. The silence is palpable, broken only by the occasional whisper that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. This is a place where whispers echo in the silence, where the past and present collide in a symphony of fear and mystery. This is the Hinsdale House, a place where terror reigns supreme. From the outside it appears as a grand Victorian mansion, now decrepit and worn by time. The fog wraps around it like a shroud, and a single lit window beckons, promising both refuge and dread. It stands as a testament to the horrors that have unfolded within its walls, a silent witness to the torment and fear that have plagued those who dared to call it home. Inside, the atmosphere is thick with fear. The very walls seem to pulse with a malevolent energy, and the shadows take on a life of their own. A person stands in a dimly lit room, their face a mask of terror as a shadowy figure looms in the background. This is not a story for the faint of heart, for the Hinsdale House is a place where nightmares come to life, and the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. The tale of the Hinsdale House is a chilling one, a story of a family tormented by the unknown. They came seeking a new beginning, but instead found themselves trapped in a living nightmare. The house seemed to feed on their fear, each day bringing new horrors and unexplainable events. The family, once full of hope and dreams, now lived in constant dread, their every moment overshadowed by the unseen forces that haunted their home. As you stand before the creaking door, slowly opening into the darkness beyond, you can't help but wonder if you have the courage to step inside. The flashlight in your hand casts a narrow beam of light, barely piercing the thick darkness. The air is cold, and the silence is deafening. Are you brave enough to enter, to face the unknown and uncover the secrets that lie within the Hinsdale House? This is your invitation, a shadowed invitation to a world where fear reigns and the past refuses to stay buried. Will you accept it? 1970s, Hinsdale, New York. A quaint town, seemingly untouched by time, where the streets were lined with charming houses and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a gentle, unhurried pace. The Dandy family, full of hope and dreams, moved into the grand old house. They were a picture-perfect family, with bright smiles and hearts brimming with optimism. The father, Michael, had just secured a new job, and his wife, Clara, was excited to start a new chapter in their lives. Their children, Sarah and Tim, were eager to explore their new surroundings and make new friends. They sought a fresh start, unaware of the darkness that awaited them. The house, with its towering facade and sprawling gardens, seemed like a dream come true. It was a place where they could build new memories and leave behind the troubles of the past. As they walked through the rooms, they imagined the laughter and joy that would fill the space. The house welcomed them with open arms, its true nature hidden behind a veil of normalcy. The walls, adorned with vintage wallpaper, whispered secrets of the past, but the Dandy family was too caught up in their excitement to notice. They spent their days unpacking, decorating, and settling into their new home, blissfully unaware of the sinister presence that lurked in the shadows. Little did they know, their dreams were about to become nightmares. As night fell, the atmosphere in the house began to change. The once warm and inviting rooms took on a cold, eerie feel. Strange noises echoed through the halls and shadows seemed to move on their own. The family started to feel a sense of unease, but they brushed it off as the quirks of an old house. However, as the days turned into weeks, the disturbances grew more frequent and more terrifying. The Dandy family found themselves trapped in a house that seemed to have a life of its own, a house that fed on their fear and despair. Their dreams of a fresh start had turned into a living nightmare, and there was no escape. The first signs were subtle, unexplained noises. Footsteps creaking on the stairs, whispers carried on the wind. The family dismissed them as their imaginations. They were wrong. The house was awakening, and it had plans for its new occupants. The shadows grew bolder, stretching and twisting in unnatural ways, as if they had a life of their own. They seemed to reach out, clawing at the walls, creating an atmosphere of dread that was almost palpable. Every corner of the room was filled with an eerie, oppressive darkness that seemed to whisper of unspeakable horrors lurking just out of sight. Objects moved on their own, defying the laws of physics. Chairs scraped across the floor with a deafening screech, tables rattled violently, and picture frames fell from the walls, shattering glass echoing through the house. It was as if an unseen force was toying with the family, making its presence known in the most unsettling ways. The once familiar and comforting home had become a place of chaos and unpredictability. Disembodied voices filled the air, whispering unintelligible words that sent chills down the spine. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, echoing through the hallways and rooms. Sometimes they were soft and almost soothing. Other times they were harsh and menacing. But always they carried a sense of malevolence. The family could never escape the feeling of being watched, of being surrounded by unseen entities. The family was under siege, their sanctuary transformed into a prison of fear. They huddled together, seeking comfort in each other's presence, but the terror was relentless. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, every unexplained noise heightened their anxiety. Sleep was a distant memory, replaced by constant vigilance and a growing sense of hopelessness. The house, once a place of warmth and safety, had become a battleground where they fought to maintain their sanity. The hauntings escalated, becoming more frequent, more intense. Ghostly apparitions appeared with alarming regularity, their forms flickering in and out of existence. Some were shadowy and indistinct, while others were terrifyingly clear, their faces twisted in expressions of rage or sorrow. The air grew thick with a sense of foreboding, and the temperature would drop suddenly, leaving the family shivering in fear. The paranormal activity was no longer just an occasional disturbance, it was a constant, inescapable presence. The dandies were living a nightmare, trapped in a house that seemed to hate them. Every day brought new horrors, new challenges to their sanity. They tried to find explanations, to rationalize the unexplainable, but the evidence of the supernatural was undeniable. The house had become a malevolent entity, feeding off their fear and despair. They were prisoners in their own home, caught in a relentless cycle of terror that showed no signs of ending. The once happy family was now fractured, each member struggling to cope with the overwhelming sense of dread that had taken over their lives.